Hello and welcome. In this video, I'll be walking through how to create your own presets with the BYOS, or the Bring Your Own Sample, or drag and drop version of Materia Prima. We'll be creating something fairly simple using some of the sounds included in the library. So let's get started. Once you've got Materia Prima downloaded, you'll notice there's an extras folder, and in that extras folder is the BYOS edition of Materia Prima. And that is the edition that allows you to drag and drop your own samples into the interface. The BYOS edition is exactly the same as the edition where you can preview the other preset instruments in the library, with the exception of this samples panel that comes up by default. Also within that extras folder is another folder called waveforms. And in that folder, you'll find a whole host of waveforms that you can go ahead and drag and drop either into layer 1, 2, or 3. The basic folder and simple folder just contains single cycle waveforms that have been extended for, I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe 8 cycles so that they appear nicely in the GUI. And we'll cover creating an instrument with those in a later video. But today we're going to use some samples from the looped and one shot folders. So let's go into one shot here. And let's grab the Europa wave file and drag it in. It should give us a little bell. Now, by default, the mode that's set is a sustain, meaning it's going to loop. You heard it just loop there and come back, but this is a one shot. So we'll need to change that so that it doesn't loop and only plays once. Also, all these samples are going to have the correct root node assigned to them. But if by chance you're using some third-party samples and you drag them in, and for whatever reason they just don't play the right note, you can choose to set the root note manually by switching this to manual and then changing. Changing the root key there to get the pitch correct. We're going to switch that back to automatic, where the MIR system that's built into Kontakt, which is pretty accurate. All right. So I'm liking that. And I think I want to add some pad sounds. Let's go into looped. And I do like this Aurora sample here. Yeah. Awesome. That's building up nicely. I want to add a little something extra to that as well. Something a little basic to just add. Maybe this mellow tide. All right, I think those are the three sounds I want to use. So I think we should switch over to the main panel and begin setting up our tuning and levels and the amp envelopes for each of these sounds. So I think for the initial ping, relatively, I'm going to set these sounds maybe. Yeah. I am going to mute the bell sound and make sure that these I think I want to take that mellotines down an octave. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. And I actually think I want to take the bell up an octave. Yeah, there we go. All right. So definitely all three of these layers need some release in their amp envelope, because when you play them and release, they immediately cut off. And I definitely don't want that. I want to have a little release there. So I think in there all probably need to be about the same. So I'm going to use the link mode here. And what the link mode allows you to do is when you move any of these controls for any of the individual layers, all three layers move the same in conjunction. So I'm going to take this up to maybe about 2.5 seconds. That feels nice. We're not getting cut off anymore. I do think that I want layer 2, even though it's got a little attack built into the sample. I think I want to make sure that it gets out of the way of the bell a little bit more than it already is. So I'm going to take link off and maybe give it an attack of solo that again. Maybe half a second. Maybe a little more. That's sounding good in terms of the amp envelopes. And I think the next thing I want to do is probably add a low pass filter triggered by velocity. And this is a trick that a lot of the presets within Materia Prima use in order to give some expression to the presets. And the principle here is that we're going to add a low pass filter. We're going to back the cutoff down quite a bit. And then we're going to turn the velocity up 100%. What this is going to do is basically the velocity is going to jump, depending on how hard you hit the keys, between wherever you set that cutoff point all the way back up to 100%. So again, if we've got this set to 0. And by the way, if you want to reset any control back to its default, if you hold down Control and click, and I think it may be Alt click on Mac, that will reset the control back to its default state. So here we go without any velocity control. If we crank that up, I'm going to play soft and gradually play a little bit louder. Softer. Just helps to give the instrument, the patch, a lot more expression. And I think with that bell sound, it might be nice to add some resonance in to maybe hype up that when play a little bit louder. Maybe more. Get to that. Yeah, that. Once again, when you play soft, you're letting that cutoff filter kind of come back to the state wherever you set it at. And then when you play loud, you are jumping that cutoff point up to 100 or whatever the equivalent is of the velocity that you played. All right, so I think it's time to add a little color and effect. And I want to add some reverb, I know. And it immediately gives it some space. But I do think I want to crank the low shelf up. Maybe the diffusion and the modulation. So that reverb isn't, we aren't getting muddy down in the lows. That immediately adds some space to the sound. Let's also add some delay. And I think I want to change it to something a little faster. Ping pong that. Maybe crank up the notes here to maybe 6. All right, that's sounding good. I do think that I want to come over here to output and maybe let's take the mids of this down a little bit. Let's see here. Let me take this down to and in there. Yeah, that's kind of cleaning things up there a little bit. If you haven't noticed, over here we've got a message center above the Prima Materia logo that anytime you click or change a control, you can either see the current value or the value that you're changing in real time. All right, I think the last thing I want to do is maybe increase the attack on that bell a little bit. So I'm going to turn on the transient designer and crank up the attack here a little bit. That's nice. That works really well with the resonance that we've got going on here. All right. I think that is it for what I want to do with this particular sound. So we do have a user folder set up for you where you can just come in and do a save as and go ahead and save. Let's give this a name. Let's call this First Light. If I come back in, there it is. We can close out and reload. All right. And that is a easy kind of quick demonstration on how to create your own instruments within Materia Prima using the samples that we provide from the library. And make sure you hit like and subscribe for more tutorials like this. And as always, thank you for watching.